Hi, my name is Bente, I'm the Norse Witch, and in this video I want to tell you about how I manifested 1000 euros within a couple of days. I'm really sorry for my looks right now, but I'm filming this video pretty spontaneously. That's also why I'm filming this video with natural light and my neighbors can see me filming, so they probably think I'm weird. And it's like 33 degrees Celsius outside, so it's hot. I'm sweating so much, I really can't handle this heat. So I didn't really feel like putting any makeup on, and also I have a sunburn, my first real sunburn of the season. So makeup would have looked weird either way. But who cares? This is my raw self without any makeup. You're welcome. But yeah, in this video I just want to quickly tell you about a spell I recently cast, which was a spell that you cast without any tools. Without any tools, just by yourself. And I managed to manifest nearly 1000 euros within a few days with that spell. So I thought it's just such an amazing spell that I want to share with you. And the spell is, well, who would have thought? It's from The Psychic Witch by Matt Oren. I feel like I'm constantly just talking about either this book or The Inner Temple of Witchcraft by Christopher Panczak on my channel. I'm really sorry, but I just love these books. Yeah, the spell is from this book. It's from Matt Oren. It's really, I think, the first time that I've tried a spell, or it's more like a spell framework by someone else. Normally I write my spells myself, but I love this spell framework so much that I just had to tell you about it. Okay, but first, a little bit of a backstory why I cast the spell. I think a lot of young people can relate. I have a lot of student loans that I have to pay off. And my plan currently is to save up a lot of money to completely pay it off until like July or August. So it's really the first time in my life that I felt like I needed to cast a money spell. Yeah, I've really never felt the need to cast money spells because I always felt like I had enough money. But now that I'm only working part-time, I'm only working 4 days a week instead of 5. So I'm earning less money and I want to pay off my student loans. So I really desperately needed some money. So my plan was to manifest 1000 euros because that was basically the rest that I needed. The majority of the money I had already saved up. So I just needed 1000 euros. And I was reading The Psychic book by Matt Oren that I showed you, and I read about this spell framework, as I would call it, and I thought, well, that's kind of a perfect coincidence because I wanted to cast a money spell and I wanted to try out this spell framework. So I thought, why not just try it out and see whether it works. If it doesn't work, I can always cast my own spell for it. So I really spontaneously sat down one evening and cast the spell. And within like 3 or 4 days, I think, I had the money. It was pretty crazy. So as you know, magic kind of works in weird ways. I am collecting rare plants, which weirds a lot of people out a little bit. But yeah, I have collected rare plants the whole year of like 2020. And I have collected quite a lot of plants that are worth quite a lot of money. And recently I have started to like sell some of the plants because I just don't really like them anymore. But at the point when I cast the spell, I was at a point where I was pretty happy with my collection. I didn't really plan on selling any more plants. So when I cast the spell, I was like, okay, I have no idea where the money should come from. Maybe from taxes or something, but I really had no clue. But then within like 3 or 4 days after I cast the spell, I was like standing in front of my greenhouse cabinet, which is like a transformed IKEA cabinet where I have my rare plants. And I was looking at my plants and I was like, I kind of don't really like this plant anymore. Which was weird because I had just pretty recently gotten the plant, like 2 or 3 months earlier. And beforehand, I had always really loved the plant. I had never planned on getting rid of it. But that day I was like, it kind of bores me at this point. It kind of doesn't really produce any variegation anymore. So maybe I should sell it. And I asked some fellow plant collector friends what they thought this plant was worth. Well, they said 1,000 euros. And then I was like, well, at that point when I asked my friends about what this plant would be worth, I hadn't even thought about the spell that I had cast. I kind of completely forgot about it, and when they said it would be worth like around 1,000 euros, I felt kind of like hit by a truck, because I was like, whoa, I had just cast the spell like 3 days ago. And now I had this plant that I want to sell, and it's like worth exactly the amount of money that I wanted to get, to manifest. I was like, mindfuck, real mindfuck. So yeah, I started to see whether anyone wanted to buy the plant. I put the plant up on eBay Kleinanzeigen, which is, I think, like a Craigslist in the US. And within like 1 or 2 days, I had sold it for 900 euros. I still really can't believe it. I'm still pretty amazed by this immediate result that I had not expected, because, as I said before I cast the spell, I really couldn't imagine where the money would come from, apart from maybe taxes. I wanted the money within a month. That was what my intention of the spell was, to manifest 1,000 euros within 1 month. So that would have been possible with taxes, but I would have never thought that I could get the idea of selling a plant, another plant, that I didn't want to sell before. So yeah, that's the story of how I used the spell and how awesome it was, how well it worked. So I thought, if this spell worked for me so well, then maybe I should tell you about it. So I have the book with me, and I will quickly run you through how the spell works. So before I start running you quickly through the spell framework, I want to say that although this is a spell without tools, or maybe even because of that reason, it really isn't that beginner friendly, unfortunately, because you have to have some skills beforehand before you can do it, because you have to do a lot of stuff. At the same time, like visualizing while you're vibrating with a specific energy, while you are like creating an energy orb and charging it with an energy and stuff like that. So there are a lot of small practices that you should be able to do beforehand to be able to really execute and cast the spell. So if you are a beginner, then I would suggest you just first practice these little practices within the spell first, so you know that you are able to easily do it, and then you can try out the spell, because otherwise it will probably be very hard for you, and maybe it will be discouraging if the outcome isn't as you expected. But without further ado, how does this spell framework work? It's pretty simple, honestly. The first thing you have to do is you get into like a light trance state, a light meditative state, maybe with like an alpha state meditation or something like that. And then you create an energy orb. There are different ways you can do it. One way is to raise your own energy, or maybe raise energy from the earth, something like that, and to fill up your whole body with it. And then you can let it flow out of your hands, and then you can like catch it in between your hands and then create an energy orb from that energy in between your hands. So then you have created an energy orb with just your normal neutral energy. Then you have to do 2 specific energy vibration things, because you will want to charge the energy orb with 1, elemental energy that corresponds to your spell, and 2, the planetary energy that corresponds with your spell. So for my money spell, for example, I chose Earth and Jupiter energy. So I started vibrating first with the energy of earth until I really felt this earth energy within myself. And then I charged the energy orb in between my hands with this earth energy. So I channeled this earth energy and I channeled it into the energy orb. So you see, what you have to already be able to do is creating an energy orb and vibrating with specific energies and using that to charge this energy orb with the specific energy. And it's also best if you are already acquainted with the energies that you're using. So for example, Earth and Jupiter for me, to already know how it feels like, how this energy feels like when you vibrate with it. But so yeah, you charge this energy orb with earth energy, and the next thing you do is you vibrate with the planetary energy and you charge the energy orb with that planetary energy. The next thing you do after charging the energy orb with the elemental energy and the planetary energy, you raise an emotion that's connected to the result of the spell. So for example, for me, it would have been the feeling that I would have when I have reached that goal. So maybe relief, happiness, joy, whatever the outcome of the spell should be, you have to project that emotionally and again charge the energy orb with that emotion. So you channel the emotion into the energy orb. Then again, the next step, you see there are quite some steps. The next step is that you have to make a clear mental statement about the intention. So really think about the exact intention of the spell. So for me, for example, it was that I wanted 1,000 euro more on my bank account within a month. That was the clear mental statement that I made for the intention of the spell. And then you visualize the energy orb getting this mental statement, this intention as a command. So yeah, kind of the intention flowing into the energy orb and the energy orb taking this intention as a command. And then the second to last step is that you visualize your intention, the intention of the spell, as if it had already happened. So for example, again, for me, I visualized how much money I wanted on my bank account on this specific day. So I did it by visualizing the banking app that I use, what it looks like in an overview for all my bank accounts. And then I visualized the specific bank account that I wanted to have the money on with the specific amount of money that I wanted. So yeah, you visualize the spell intention as if it has already happened. And then you kind of put that visualization into the energy orb as if inside the energy orb there was a cinema or something where the visualization is playing. So you don't visualize it on the screen of your mind like you would normally, but inside the energy orb. And then the last thing you do is that you inhale very deeply and then you exhale really forcefully, and you visualize the energy orb that was between your hands all the time during the spell casting. And you visualize that energy orb being blown off into the universe so it can be manifested. That's the spell framework. I think it's really fun. Yes, you have to be able to do quite some stuff like vibrating with energies, visualizing at the same time, raising emotions, visualizing the spell intention. And I thought it was pretty challenging doing it all at the same time. And I honestly thought I had done a pretty bad job at it, but it worked great. So if you try that spell, then please tell me about the outcome, because I am really curious to hear about your outcomes of these spells. And honestly, make sure to follow Matt Oren on Instagram and TikTok and everywhere. And if you can afford it, then buy the book. Honestly, this book is awesome. And it's getting translated into German. So if you're a German speaker and you don't really read English books, then maybe you want to get it in German as soon as it's out. And that's all that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the spell framework and that you have a lot of success with it, trying it out. As always, feel free to subscribe and give a thumbs up and follow me on Instagram. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!